Like, comment, and subscribe to J New Orleans.
Welcome to another episode. This is episode 9. And before we get into episode 9, we will start with the definition of motivation, which motivation is the driving force behind human actions defined as the desire and initiative to achieve goals through activation, persistence, and intensity. When I see motivation used in daily life around like in life, I guess, I see that people usually are waiting for it or they tell themselves they're going to do something later in hopes that when later comes they'll have the energy or the drive to want to do it. And once you start working on being motivated to achieve whatever you're trying to do, which could be a goal for finances, relationships, careers, things like that, you'll start to have changes within your social dynamic as well, because whatever you're doing now is the reason why it's hard for you to get to where you want to be. So once you start adjusting what you're doing and seeing what parts of what you're doing is the reason that's holding you back, that will also result in people seeing a different version of you or people feeling like you changing. And then some people, depending on the way they view change and their own experiences, that can cause them to either support you, try to hinder you, or just pull back from you altogether. And people are typically happy, but then you may run across people or you may be one of those people that say, I wish I could do that, when you see somebody else achieve a goal, but then you never do it, or you go back to living life how you were before the person inspired you, and then you just keep repeating the cycle. One thing is called self handicapping, and self handicapping is when people create excuses before they attempt something so they never have to risk failure, which is an example of, I wish I could do that, I don't have time, I'm just not disciplined like you, which is wild because you never tried. So how do you know how, like, what will happen? Or they'll try one time and let that be the end of it. But the benefit of the motivation or whatever the goal is, the benefit of it being achieved is life changing. For people who are afraid of therapy, if you mentally suffering, healing your mental wounds and emotional wounds and learning how to manage all of that and work through it would change a lot of people's life, because a lot of their decisions is based off of the fact that they're in mental turmoil. Or people with financial struggles, like, motivation and discipline could literally be a whole different lifestyle for them, and which would bring peace, because most people with money issues also probably have other issues, because money runs a lot of things for a lot of people. And those statements protect ego, because if you never try, you never have to face the possibility that you might fail. But the crazy part about that is that if trying is pushing you towards something that's different or better or something that you see that you want, failing could be you not trying, because you never, like, if you get in a car and say that you're going on a road trip and just never leave the driveway, like, that's essentially what you're doing in them situations. And then they have learned helplessness. And it happens when people start believing nothing I do will change my situation. Even if opportunities appear, they may still respond with, I wish I could. That would never work for me. You're just lucky. Over time, they stop attempting change entirely. I've witnessed this when it comes to careers. Like, I've seen a lot of instances of people who work at places that have lower pay rates as a customer or as an employee, myself, and they would be afraid to go for that management position that could help them. Manager probably the least competent person in the building, and you afraid to go to the position, but you've been working there for 10 years. Like, so for me, I know that through studying psychology and human behavior through myself and just comparing other people's stuff through life, I realized that it's not as cut and dry as we think it is. Like, if a person is not doing something, if a person is not cleaning their room or showering or cleaning their car or just whatever in their life they neglecting that's also making their life harder, is usually something psychological behind that. Like with hoarders and people who seem like they just go crazy when it comes to spending, a lot of the times that's a trauma response from when they were younger or something like that. And number three is external locus of control, which we talked about that before. Some people develop it, and it means that they believe life is determined by luck, other people's circumstances, genetics, fate, instead of their own actions. When they see someone succeed, they often assume the success came from something outside the person's control, not effort. Man, when that one hit hard because that tea didn't dry my mouth out. Glad I got water. But that hit hard because anytime I've ever achieved stuff, it always made me cringe when people would credit it to other stuff. Like instead of it being the fact that I worked for so many hours and that's how I was able to make a decision or make a change with something like that. That tea got me jittery. I don't even have no caffeine in there. It's so weird. My bad, y'all. But anyways, passive envy. Another dynamic sometimes involved is passive envy. Instead of being openly jealous, the person expresses admiration mixed with resignation. I wish I could do that. I admire what you did, but I'm not willing to make the changes required. It's envy without the willingness to act. That's kind of like when people say, you better than me, or I wish I could do that, or I ain't that strong. Even though it could be used in sarcasm sometimes when people say you better than me, or I'm not that strong. But in this instance, when it comes to if you had to run 100 miles to get $1,000,000 and they used it in that instance, that would be a good example. And then some people resist change because their current identity feels safer. For example, someone who has struggled with money or weight for years may unconsciously see it as part of who they are. If they change, they would have to redefine themselves. So instead of taking action, they reinforce the story. That's just how I am. I've always been like this. And then they also have the spectator mindset. In behavioral psychology, this pattern is sometimes informally described as a spectator mindset. Spectators watch others pursue goals, participants pursue goals themselves. Spectators often comment, admire, or critique, but rarely step onto the field. That's kind of like the comment section. When we comment on people content, we're spectators. They're the participant. And that mindset is cool in that instance because social media is set up for that. But when you start doing that in real life, and a lot of people do that, like they've taken it to where social media has so much of people real life on it that people spend more time, like 10 hours a day plus, on social media watching other people live. So now not only are you a spectator online, but you subconsciously became a spectator in real life too, because you spend so much of your real life watching someone else's life. Your actual time, energy, essence is being spent on someone else. Like it it really benefits people who are greedy and money hungry that society is able to be captivated in that way. And it's not even a dig at anybody, because when you really look at everything that we have attention towards is money related. Like it costs, like streaming, electronic devices, movies, all of these different trends that they manufacture, trends that they manufacture online that make people go broke to be a part of the trend, because a lot of the stuff that you see is manufactured. That is why they are so desperate to get a hold on social media, because with social media, it's a loose cannon, because it's so many sections that can't be controlled and so many people with separate voices. And that's why every time people blow up so much, they immediately try to buy the person or blackmail the person or do something to manipulate the person. Because if this person got 1 million followers, these people dressing like them, thinking like them, whatever they telling them to buy, they buy. Let me get in that influencer pocket so I can influence these people to get what I want. And so when it comes to motivation, you not having motivation is giving you the space to be able to have time to waste. And then it's really like a circle of life when you think about it, because you don't have the motivation, but then not having the motivation gives you more time to do other stuff. But then doing other stuff takes the energy that you would use for motivation. So it's kind of like a never ending thing if you don't realize it. Because a lot of the things that make people want to change is them becoming aware of it. When you didn't think it was wrong or when you didn't know you were doing it, it wasn't a thought in your mind. You wasn't thinking about it. But once you either realized you were doing it, or you did it so long that you saw that it was consequences, or life itself, a doctor, a family member, a relationship, a friendship, your career being lost, freedom being lost, made you want to change it. But it's like when you think about changing, like if I wanted to change right now, like if I wanted to start getting up earlier, the first thing I would try to think about is what is making me get up later. And then if I set up a schedule or if I set up a routine, I also have to plan for interruptions. So if I need to move around for an hour before bed to burn off all my energy, I need to also think about, okay, is there ever going to be a time where I can't move around for an hour before bed? Am I ever going to be somewhere away from home and my bedtime get messed up? What's going to be the plan for that? Or like if it's a goal for fitness, the I know the favorite thing is the gym, and I recommend it because it allows you to have equipment without having to pay all of that money for the separate equipment. But it's not always achievable to access the gym. Some people don't have transportation. Some people don't feel safe there. Some people, their gym is too crowded at the times that they have free time. So that's why I think that whenever we're getting in a category, fitness, finance, or anything like that, we need to like keep our options open and also get creative, because when it comes to fitness, you literally can have whatever body you want by just moving. You don't even need equipment. It's so many different ways to do body workouts and calisthenics and all of these other things. But when it comes, what I tell people and what I do, well, what I do, not what I tell people, but what I do that allows me to achieve things when I try is I study it. Whenever I want to learn something, I make that my whole personality while I'm learning it. And I also add and take away from, and I see what worked for me. Because like when it comes to finances, a lot of those books that I've read, the information is not really, it's not it's not one size fits all. That's the most professional way I can say that. So if I come in a game thinking that I'm gonna buy this book or read this book for free at the library, y'all, and y'all know the library also have free ebooks as well. You just have to have a library card. So go to y'all local library if y'all want to read books, and instead of buying these books and they collecting dust, use your library resources because it's free. Library, but because it's free, and make it work for you. But if I came in the game immediately following everything them books said, I wouldn't be on none of those journeys, because a lot of those things are crazy. Like they really people who make money off the fact that people need motivation for stuff, they don't give reasonable advice, especially to new people. Like I really learning about psychology and how it connects to so much of our habits. Anything I see that don't include psychology when they giving people motivation, I feel like either the information is insufficient as far as the person is really interested and really genuinely giving information and it's just insufficient, or people just talking out of their BBLs and out of their man BBLs, and they basically scamming people. Because when it comes to finance, fitness, and all of that, you cannot go in any of those head first. It is horrible because what happens is you're already programmed for whatever fitness, finance, like whatever your motivation you need motivation for, because that's what this video is about. You already doing stuff a certain way. So if you immediately change, your body is going to resist that because we are wired for comfort. That is uncomfortable. You're not going, like, that's why goals, them cold turkey goals, they very rare that people can break through them. And a lot of the times the cheat code that people can do, like when people want to quit certain habits and stuff, you usually have to be somewhat different. So if you live in Texas and you have a smoking habit, if you went out of town for a month and completely changed your environment and had all kind of things to take your mind off of it, it's possible that you could actually quit within that month because you don't have the same triggers. Like, if any of y'all notice, I don't know if everybody experienced this or if y'all normal, you can have water or food in your stomach all day long, but for some people, it seemed like as soon as you within walking distance to your front door or to the bathroom, it's like the floodgates of heaven just rain down. And that's because our body, our subconscious is channeling that. Like a lot of the stuff that we be thinking is like random. No, we have 3 layers of thinking in our brain, and one of them sees and knows and remembers everything. So when we're trying to make changes and when we're trying to look for motivation, we got to start there. Because if we not in alignment with ourselves, baby, the body keeps the score. Like seriously. So that's why I always recommend not having shame and giving yourself grace, but also learning yourself, learning what are your roadblocks. Like people will say they're gonna wake up at 5 a.m. every day for something. When was the last time you woke up at 5 a.m.? Like how are you in the morning? What time you go to sleep at night? Do you have people who always calling your phone? Are you that person who feel like you Superman or woman or super non-binary and you think that your phone's supposed to have 24-hour access, so people waking you up whenever they want to, or if somebody happened to text you because they don't respect your boundaries, you're gonna still respond because you just respond to everybody. So you have to consider those things. Or when it comes to finance goals, that's probably finance and fitness is probably the same difficulty, I think. But I feel like with finance, that's a lot harder because people cap so much nowadays. And a lot of the money people spend is to show other people that it's there. So you actually blow money to show money. And it's programmed. It's programmed socially. So you have the social pressure of it. It's programmed through society now because thanks to social media, like the wealth is really in your face. I remember at one time that you literally would have to go to rich neighborhoods to see wealth. Like in public, you really didn't see wealth. Like if you want to see nice cars, you went to a car show. Like everything was contained. But now you really you don't know who's who because now everyone is rich as far as visuals, which that's fine for them. But the scary part about it is it's programmed so deep that people get teased for saving money. Like people legit, if a person kept up with their vehicle and kept up with the maintenance and is satisfied with that because they realize that it's really no difference. Like once I started traveling and driving in rental cars and things like that, I noticed it's a mind thing. Like them rentals, yeah, it was nice and all of that, but it wasn't better than my car. Like mine taken care of. I paid my car note off in 1 year of having a car loan. So, baby, like what I look like going get something else for who? Another like them, like the thing of the crazy part about how psychologically tied up they have society is that we would sign something for $40,000 and up at the blink of an eye that could take for years to pay off or might not even finish it. Shout out to repos and don't think nothing of it. Like we feel like it and then it's so programmed to where you start hating your stuff on purpose so you could get new stuff. Oh, I can't wait to get this new watch. Oh, I can't wait to get this new phone. But when you really think about it, it's not benefiting you to get a new phone. It's benefiting the company that you just gave the money to, because the new phone is not going to make your call quality better. Now, granted, like I say in other videos, there's exceptions to every rules. I'm imagining that the people who listening to these videos have enough reasoning and context clues and all of those magical, mysterious things to know when it's an implied exception, of course. So, everyone who gets a new car is not a horrible person, but they put people in situations to where, especially the income tax thing, if y'all really looked at how many businesses purposely price things certain ways around income tax time because they know that the income tax people in their minds are not knowledgeable. So if you want a blue dress or a blue phone, just think of an item that a person could want. That bad boy be $50, I will say, from August, maybe June through November. Then come December through May, it's $300. So essentially, it's the exact same item, no alterations, no upgrades, nothing else, and they charging you something different because it's a different time of year. Same thing with those car places that I mentioned in the other video when it came to the I'm gonna try not to move around too much too, because that microphone be tapping. But in the other video, when I was telling y'all about the predatory car loan places and how they overprice. So when it comes to back to motivation, see how good I am at getting back to the point? When it comes to all of those things, that really should be the driving force. But also, too, motivation is not as real as in the way that people think it is. People think motivation is like something that you could press, and then, like, if you press a boost on a racing game and it's 30-second boost, you guarantee them 30 seconds. People think that motivation is like that, and it don't work that way. That's why the people who be looking for motivation, they never find it, because it's not what you think it is. Same with love. People think you find love. You don't find love. We're all supposed to have been nurtured when we were children, and nurture with love by two adults. Like, that's what biology wants us to do. Two adults is supposed to nurture that baby, and then the village help too, but the baby's supposed to grow up and have love in them. And then when we start going out into the world, the two people who were supposed to raise us were supposed to also teach us boundaries, respect, patience, hard work, all of these different things, consequences, understanding, self-defense, like how to hone in on our intuition, properly teach young men about hormones, that hormones is something you're supposed to conquer at a certain point, to where is not connected to your thoughts, because when you're younger, all of your thoughts you act out. That's why children just do whatever that come to their mind. They might just randomly run into the wall, or y'all know what children be doing. But when we become aware, we're supposed to know when something is emotional, when something is actually physical, and something is mental. Like, but the lack of the two parents actually doing their job, because majority of people, parents don't do their job, and parents these days ain't doing their job. Shout out to the ones who do. But so it's a never ending cycle, because the fact that we start adulthood behind, and then some of us start having children. So the children being raised off of the us being behind. So we in overdraft, and then we have given birth to little overdraft junior and overdraft senior. So it's like, at some point, if we don't stop and really become aware of the world around us, and realize that the world doesn't revolve around us, our world revolves around us. The world is the world, but we supposed to have our own separate worlds. So when it comes to motivation or finding love and all of these other things, we have to find that in us. And that's why it is so easy to control society, because people have been led to believe that you're looking for things externally, so you don't have the power. Everything that goes wrong in the world is being blamed on people who don't even have the power to have made that happen. There is nobody in the world powerful enough, unless you in a country like that could make your personal life, like just you, live in hell, but then the people around you is able to do whatever they want. Like, I mean, they probably do. I was just trying to add drama, a dramatic effect when I said that. But you gotta realize too that y'all didn't sign lifetime contracts with these people in y'all lives. Like, uh, y'all have not learned the art of detachment, and that you do not need to maintain lifetime supply relationships with every single person in your life. And the plot twist is, for some of y'all have lifetime contracts for people who already have an expiration date for you, because you are a means to an end. So you will delay your present for someone who is not even going to be in your future. So essentially, like, one example, people who like to always go places. You keep showing up. Like, I've seen even grown men, bro, grown men thirsty for friends, and knowing that they have medical, like, conventions and important stuff for their career that they need to take care of, but they going to the bar because they get invited to the bar and they don't turn down the invites. It's so, like, peer pressure is crazy, but it's psychological. But what's even crazier is the people who suffer from it. And that's why I don't feel sympathy for a lot of people, or empathy, because y'all point fingers at other people. Like, if you see a person in a toxic relationship, you could call that person stupid, but then your stupidity is in a different category. You're just as stupid as that person, but you're stupid at work. Like, okay, you have a loving lover, but at work, you be doing everybody's job. They keep messing up your pay. Every other time they short staff, they make you come in, and every time they overstaff, they make you go home. You the little flow mat. Or for people who try to judge what other people's lifestyle is and use religion as the source. Y'all are not living religious lives at all. And not to mention the religious stuff that y'all be throwing on people. Y'all, like, the religion itself don't even be preaching the hate that y'all be having. So when it comes to motivation, you have to understand a lot of the stuff that you were led to believe was lies, and you can't convince the people around you, and you shouldn't even care about that. Like, caring about what other people think is another form of slavery. That's why they make y'all pay so much money for chains, because you're literally paying to enslave yourself. Imagine being somebody, and that I'm probably bouncing all over the world, but we swim over here. We go deep, even though that's, but I'll stop there. I was about to go too deep. But motivation is something that is for you. It's for you. You may have people around you, which is awesome, that can benefit and boost you, but you can't expect that, because if you're in a situation where everybody either doing just as bad as you, or you doing a little bit better than everybody else, but you want to do better, baby, them kind of situations that y'all not equally yoked. If y'all notice, when people get around their kind, and when I say their kind, I mean mentally, because as far as our shell, I know that we all differentiate because of each other's shell and how we decorate our shell, but it's really in the mind. Like, people, like-minded people, that's why criminal organizations pop. Y'all don't realize that? Like, how they be having all these criminal organizations y'all ain't never heard about? Because the people, they all the same person. They look different, but they all the same person. You have a lot of us, we are not around our people. We may be born in families and they're not our people. You could be a genius in a family full of idiots. Do you know how horrible that is? You know how painful that is when you a child and your mother and father are idiots, and you get punished when you telling them, hey, don't do that, we can all die. That can be carbon monoxide. Or you're not supposed to mix bleach and ammonia, and you get beat to shreds. Like, yeah, like, we are not like-minded people. So that's why it's good for you to explore life at your own pace and not always explain stuff to people. That's why it's kind of good to keep your business to yourself when it comes to things, especially things you trying, because if you don't, you're gonna have to keep explaining everything. And that's the trap with social media, because these people get on here being overly transparent, which is perfectly fine. But what you got to understand, once you open the door on social media, the door is gone. You can't close it back. Like, unless you just completely delete everything on the internet, scrub yourself of a digital footprint and make sure everybody around you just never tell you what they see about you on the internet, baby. But now motivation, we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes. Motivation is not automatic. Have you ever told yourself, tomorrow I'll start? Tomorrow I'll start exercising. Tomorrow I'll start studying. Tomorrow I'll start building that business. But tomorrow comes and somehow the motivation never shows up. Most people think motivation is supposed to arrive automatically, like inspiration. But what if motivation isn't something that appears before action, but something that appears because of action? And what if one of the biggest things stopping us from acting is thinking too much? What I want to say in between, because that was the intro, uh, a good thing to try is if it's something physical, like if you practicing a skill or practicing a language or doing work or cleaning up. I've always heard try to do it 5 minutes, like for five consecutive minutes, and usually that's when the motivation kick in. So that's something you could try, or even have a playlist. Music is one thing. If you're a person like whatever you like, you can add that to the goal. So if you like music and music make you feel different ways, if you're one of those people that a sad song will make you sleepy, a upbeat song will make you ready to, do stuff. When you're going on road trips, you have upbeat music. I just messed this hat up. But you know, if you're one of those people, you can do that, have a playlist for the gym, or use somebody else's playlist and get inspired. Or if you someone, when it comes to trying to save money, you can look up people who in finance that's baddies. If you a baddie, or if you a finance brother, find a finance brother that inspire you. Like, it's so many different ways to do this. You have to get creative, because the whole thing with creativity is that it's creation. You created it. Creativity is not me giving you the sauce. Creativity is you seeing my sauce, you reverse engineering it, and you looking at your environment. Because say, for instance, if we made a worldwide sauce, my sauce would have Tony Sacharines or Zatarans in it. But then somebody on the East Coast sauce is going to have Old Bay seasoning in there. And then somebody in a different country might have sriracha sauce in there. And then somebody else might have soy sauce. Like, if that makes sense. So your sauce is never going to be like, creativity is, you can still be in the same realm and the same idea as the information I'm giving you, but it's putting your touch on it and finding a way to trick your brain into seeing whatever you're trying to do as fun. Like, that's the easiest hack. If you think about everything you do already, like if you go out, think about what you have to go out. You probably have social media platforms you use to know where to go out. You probably have clothes to go out. You have a list of places that you will go out, or you have a type of music or a type of vibe that you go out. Or if you a foodie, you have a certain thing that you do before you pick a restaurant. Or if you somebody who travel a lot, you have certain things you do when it comes to travel, suitcase, all of this stuff. Whatever your goal is, build that same regime, but in a way that feels natural. Because as long as you have that mindset, because that's why when I tell people about what they say out loud as far as negativity, when it comes to themselves, because for me, I could be negative about the world. My brain ain't hearing that shit and don't care about that shit. But if I be negative about myself, my brain is gonna make the shit come true. Because yeah, it's a real thing. So, but when people have lives that has had so much suffering and consistent failure, they really don't realize you instead of you putting water on the fire, you're putting alcohol on the fire. Like, the alcohol you're peeing out, you're making the flames bigger, because you really have to, like, first of all, figure out why you don't believe in yourself, which it usually starts in childhood. Because for everyone, being a human, even if you're grown, whoever that child was is still there. So if that child was abandoned, all of these different things, all these years you've been doing, is a result of that little, like, if you remove all them layers, that little child is still in the fetal position crying. So that is why, for me, I'm pro mental health awareness for people, because if you can get in touch with that little child, you, baby, you ain't gonna need none of this stuff no more. You'll still, like, watch it because it's good to reinforce the information, but you're gonna realize that childhood trauma is the bottom of the tree. We up here trying to catch fruit, baby. You gotta. So many people believe motivation works like fuel. You wake up inspired and driven, and then you take action. But psychology research shows something different. Motivation usually follows action, not the other way around. This is called the action motivation feedback loop. Once we begin doing something, even a small step, our brain begins producing dopamine, reinforcing the behavior. And then for that, it's also important to try to do it as often as possible. So if you only could do something for 5 minutes at a time, but if you could keep doing it, like if you got to do it in 5 minute sessions a day, that's 25 minutes a day within 5 days, that'll be a lot. So you definitely can, you don't have, like, I know for me, I'll use myself as an example. I used to be trying to torture myself to make myself read lessons in one setting because I read books fast. So I'm like, well, I can't read this lesson fast, but it's because I knew that it's a lesson. I knew it was a task and I knew it got on my nerves. So what I started doing was just basically reading until I started daydreaming, because that's when I know that I'm tired of reading it. And I did it, and eventually I started having longer and longer times of reading, and then I realized too, the notifications and all of that would be distracting. That's why it was nothing for me to leave social media, like, due to the fact that it's literally me being distracted for nothing. Like, what am I keeping up with all of these people for? I'm not anyone important. I don't have any wishes to see people that I haven't seen in 10 and 20 years every single day on the internet. And it's like every now and then they say stuff like, oh, we need to link up, and just all of this weird, like, it's the internet basically feel like a daydream on fentanyl. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like you're daydreaming all of these people from past and present and random strangers from the future. And it's a bunch of wasted time. And let's not even get how, as social media went on, it became darker and darker with people becoming cliques and beefs. And whenever it's topics that people have passion about, everybody's beefing over the differences of opinions, which is so crazy because if we beefing over celebrities, like if a celebrity push somebody down the stairs and Tina support them and Brittany mad at that, why are Tina and Brittany fighting if the celebrity is the one that did the crime? Like, none of them could have prevented it, or none of them egged it on. So it's like, I get that we are moral police, but it don't even be across the board. And y'all be so funny when y'all be talking about people supporting abusers when the whole industry is are abusers. Like, y'all shouldn't even be listening to media or watching anything, because if somebody did a deep dive and did a connection of the tree of abuse, so it's like, I don't know. But anyways, the hidden enemy, overthinking. Overthinking feels productive. It feels like planning and preparation, but often it becomes a mental loop. You start imagining everything that could go wrong. You imagine failure, judgment from others, and difficulty before you even begin. Psychologists call this analysis paralysis. The brain becomes so focused on evaluating possibilities that it shuts down the ability to act. Overthinking too, with motivation. One thing that can make life easier is being more organized. If you are someone who wakes up at a certain time every day and immediately has to start your day that way, having your clothes laid out already knowing what you're going to eat the next day, already, like, having everything that is a decision. If you can limit the decisions you have to make unnecessarily, your brain, I'm telling you, your brain is going to thank you. Because when you really get to a point of silence and meditation, to where you can feel the pace of your brain, you could feel when you starting to be overstimulated, you start to feel that your heart is beating faster because you're in tune with yourself, you'll realize that the less the better. Less is better, especially if you someone who often have to look for stuff. For keys, phone chargers, all of that, start having designated places for them. But plot twist yourself too. Don't just have one designated place, have another one. Because a lot of the times when we start in these new changes where you're trying to be more organized or trying to clean up more, you'll do it like when you feeling it, but you didn't plan for them days that you low energy, and the low energy days is where you slip right back into the old habits again, because you might go to sleep, that one day and not be did none of the stuff you said you was gonna do or be prepared, and then the next day you wake up, now you rush and you panic again because you got used to that peace, but now you back in the mix again with the overthinking, and that overthinking make you upset with yourself and say that, oh, I can't believe it, I'm never gonna do this. Like, really? One thing I learned about psychology, that's why I really don't even be tripping over people who be rude no more. Like, I'm gonna tell y'all about y'all being rude because I really hope that the spirit of misery, I hope it get off of y'all because it's on y'all so heavy. But I don't mind people being rude as far as online. First of all, I don't read comments, but because to, the negative on the outside is times 100 on the inside. So, like, nice people, we have kind people have the worst self talk just for being kind. So just imagine the evil people, baby. They got all kinds of negative stuff. They hate themselves. Like, really, I'm telling you, everything on the outside is on the inside. Keep that in mind. And the hidden cognitive load we ignore. Another factor quietly draining motivation is cognitive load. Cognitive load refers to the amount of mental effort your brain is using at any given moment. Your brain has a limited amount of decision making energy each day. Psychologists refer to this as decision fatigue. Every decision you make consumes mental energy: what to wear, what to eat, where your keys are. Individually, these decisions seem small, but collectively, they create mental noise that reduces your ability to focus on what actually matters. A good example: think about if you ever been on the phone and you doing stuff while you're on the phone, or if you're on the phone and you somewhere that people are trying to talk to you while you're on the phone. Think about how hard it'd be to talk to both of those people, or how, like, if you're in the middle of speaking and then you trying to think about or pay attention to what the person in front of you is saying, and then that's cognitive load. It's the like the way that society has people overloaded all of the time is the equivalent of if you went to the gym for the first time and worked out till you passed out and just did it every day. Never rested, never drank water, never ate. Baby, you wouldn't have no muscle. You would be fried. And that's what y'all brains are. No shade. But that's what y'all brains are now because it's so much stimulation. Like, it's to the point to where people don't even like. I thought that people was afraid of driving. It used to be people who still don't have a license now because they're afraid of driving. So for y'all to make it to get behind the wheel and y'all be so overloaded with distractions on the phone, like, I've literally seen people switching screens while driving, like like app to app to app, and not even looking at the road. Like, so if you can break yourself out of that, because goal achieving in before all of this stuff was one thing. I might do a video on that about the differences in what people faced in the different decades, but now they got y'all good. They got y'all so good now because back in the day, that 1900s jumping out. Back in the day, distractions cost money, man. And if it didn't cost money, it cost effort to be distracted. Like, TV only had so much. That's why people used to do other stuff. But now you can you don't all you need is a Wi-Fi signal. You don't need anything. You could be distracted all day if you want to. And they silently switched it to where the scrolling is unlimited now. It used to have stopping points. Like, these people, bro, it's not like the people who work in technology are the people y'all think the politicians are, even though the politicians are horrible. But baby, whew, please, y'all, just like, if y'all have grass and stuff around y'all house and it's comfortable, just start exploring. Like, if it's if you have safety, like, I ain't telling y'all if y'all got woods and stuff to go find Lil Red Riding Hood and all them other hoes, but get used to nature. Like, if you have birds around your house, learn the different sounds because they all have different sounds and they all have different meanings. Learn that. That'll be fun. And you might even feel like Pocahontas or somebody. Oh, what that girl was, Eliza Thornberry or somebody. Oh, Snow White. Was it Snow White? You like doing things for free. Find enjoyment in free things. It'll change your life because it'll show you that, damn, I just enjoyed this much and I ain't even pay for it. Like, fewer decisions means more energy. Every unnecessary decision throughout the day taxes your mental energy. By simplifying your environment and routines, you conserve mental energy for the decisions that matter. When it's time to act on something important, your brain isn't already exhausted. And like when it comes to that, that's why the surroundings matter. You, as one person, can listen to all of this, implement all of this, and be in a bunch of bliss. But if you have people in your life, which majority of the people who probably would be watching this kind of content do, good luck. I don't know, like we all in different stages of life. So maybe some of y'all might already be out of the people pleasing era that we all are bred to be in, because society is built to people please. Society is built to be a performer. Society is built to lie. Society is built for people to be manipulated. If you notice, people take lies so much easier than truth. People who tell the truth, you have to do so much to prove that you're being honest when it's the truth. And it be dead set evidence. You still got to prove it. But then a person can say something with no evidence, no standing. And a lot of the times it don't even be logically sensible, the stuff they say, but you know, logic ain't free, I guess. But anyways, the identity shift. Most people treat change like a distant goal, but goals often feel like chores. Instead of saying I have to work out, try saying I'm exploring how to take care of my body. This shift changes pressure into curiosity. Curiosity creates engagement instead of resistance. Also, as well, when it comes to fitness or finance, if you are already addicted to your phone, just add that to your content. Just watch content about fitness, watch content about finance, because I mean, it's a start. At least it's a start. And then if you get to the point to where you able to start remembering different facts and tidbits you learned, or different, like if it's fitness, different postures or different stretches, whatever you need to do. But what I can say about fitness and finance, if y'all really want, like y'all want to do scared straight, just we on the internet, look up all of the videos for finance. Look at all of the videos of all of the businesses going bankrupt, of the people who caused the different downturns throughout history. You could look up, if for the people who worship millionaires so bad, look up all of the broke people. Look at all of the NFL players who retired and now they have to work for a living. Like, look up all of that so it can really make you realize this is going to be you. Like, especially when it comes to finance, like look at all of the different people who was money hungry, which is greed, to the point of getting all of these large amounts of money that they never needed, because when they had little bits amounts of money, they wasn't even using it for anything. Because everybody who need money think that they all the same. All of y'all who need money are not like the next person who need money. Some people need money, some people greed money. Like, it's a huge difference. So don't think that everybody that greed money is a part of the people that need money. And then when people trying to call out the greed money, the need money people up here catching strays, I volunteer. Get behind me. Stop in the name of love. Like, hit ass. Like, no. And when it comes to like people who greedy for money, it never ends well. Y'all have never seen no happy story with these people. All of these different documentaries that show y'all all of the glitz and glam we've been seeing for the last 30, 40 years has been all a lie. Like, and y'all still want that life. But you can have whatever life you want. You get the life, it's going to end the same way the people who get it get. It's not that you can't get it. You'll get whatever you want. Like, everybody who want money, you're going to get the money. Like, I personally have witnessed people that right now, they will make you think that they struggled their whole life, but it's people who have blown tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars only to still be in the same place they were before that. It's like, because it's not the money you're chasing. A lot of people who are chasing money for superficial reasons, you're not chasing the money. You looking for something that's not a part of this physical world because it's inside of you. That void you're trying to fill, you can't fill it with money. And that's why people who get money, you see them switch to all of these different other vices, as far as substances and weird habits. Or when it comes to fitness, with the fitness thing, Are you really wanting to be fit and in shape because you realize the health benefits of it and you want to live longer for people? You want to have an easier life? You want to stop blaming old age when it's really just long-term vitamin deficiency, lack of stretching, which means your joints and muscles is tensing up. That's why everybody be talking about the Sierra and Megan Thee Stallion knees. Baby, if you did windshield wipers sitting on the floor, you would open your hips up and you'd be able to do that too. All that is pressure on tight hips, and it's whenever your hips get tight, it makes sure it put pressure on your knees. Your knees is not supposed to have pressure. Your knees are hinges. So just imagine you opening your door and hanging on it. Depending on how heavy you are, your door may fall. So that's what you're doing to your knees because your hips are not open. But anyways, with people with fitness, either they pay for the fitness or they pay for it, they shot for it, whatever it is. But the whole point was you realize that first of all, fast weight loss, baby, I had to deal with that from my injury. That stuff is hard to tighten up that skin. So for people who rush weight loss because they think it's gonna make them feel better, it don't. You never feel better. Like when you get to a point to where you're obsessing over something material or physical, it's good to have a goal to change that, but you're gonna have to find a better reason. So whatever your goal is, it's the goal, but the reason need to change. Because when you have these superficial reasons, you like I see that they have men out there saying that they gonna get more money so they can get a woman. Baby, if you need character first. If y'all had character, like if people had character, everybody had character, you wouldn't have so much issues when it came to people because character would show you who is a person of character because character sees character. And then from there, y'all get to know each other properly. And then either y'all understand that y'all have differences that y'all both avoid from each other out of respect, or y'all just respectfully leave each other alone. But people with no character, y'all be trying to force everything together. Y'all think that everything y'all want or everybody y'all want or everything you want to do is supposed to just bend to your will, and it don't work that way. And that also can tank motivation because you may look at the world based off of something that was hard for you, but that was hard because that wasn't meant for you. But then this new goal, fitness, finance, whatever, career, education, that could be something that might be the thing that opened the door for you. And it's like you also have to realize it's a lot of self responsibility because I see so many people who still blame stuff. Like somebody who haven't had a job in 10 years blame the current president. And it's like, so with those kinds of people, like I don't even talk to people like that no more. That's one thing. I'm glad I got my rocks off with being Barney the first half of my life. I've gotten to see every personality trait out there. Every now and then I meet a red like a new software update or something, a variant, but it still be having the same source code. So for me, I have seen enough. And within that, I discovered myself and I work that way. Everybody, I'm everybody on the planet, we cool. But baby, just y'all, ooh, not even you probably watching this, the people y'all be around. And what's so sad is that I'm gonna show y'all an example. I'm glad that I'm on here. Well, because if you zoom out on the map, I'm gonna use the map as an example. But I need to make sure it ain't showing location. Here. Let me find a random place. Is that Alabama? Like, okay, so here it goes right here. Share screen, window, Chickasaw. So, like with this for example, you see, this is just a random city. Baby, no, don't show my location. This is one view, right? So if this is my point of view about life, this is all I'm thinking about in life. So like for us as a regular person, this is everything. This will be you right here, you Dotson Park. and then this is your family, and then this is your job, and this is the freeway out the life or whatever. And but then you base off everything from this. So if the weather bad here, you probably think the weather bad all over the world. Or if y'all have, let me think, if y'all have potholes here, you think you have potholes over the world. But one thing about a map, when you zoom out, you see more. Okay, you see it's more than one freeway out. And then you zoom out some more. You see, oh, it's even bodies of water out. Like that's how you have to do in life. And what happens is while you here with these people, these friends and these family, you don't see their connections when you zoom out that, oh, my friends, they miserable. They, the boys, deadbeat dads, the girls is deadbeat mamas, they alcoholics, they on drugs, they hateful, they always forgetting my birthday. They on the phone with you, they don't listen, they drag for everybody to you, so they dragging for you. They really just use us. They do the bare minimum when they're around you. Anytime you've had emergencies, they literally were no help. But then they expect you to be their free therapist, even though therapy is very expensive because of the mental load it costs to be a therapist. So the fact that people around you feel like you're entitled to listen to all of their problems that they're not even going to solve. But every time they tell you about it, it's with such emotion. The empathy in you is drained because you feel the emotion for them, but then your brain is confused because it's like, how could you be so disgusted with this situation that you're telling me, but you keep perpetuating the situation in different jobs and different relationships and different things. So once you start backing out and seeing the world, like for people who grew up religious, and if y'all unfortunately were under religious leadership that was taking advantage of you, more than likely you didn't grew up with a parent that have psychosis, because the result of growing up under false leadership, not the religion, because remember, if a postman messes with your mail, he's bad. But if you call a postman bad, you're not saying the post office is bad. So saying a pastor is bad is not saying Christianity is bad. But me being a Christian child, as a child, that I was able to see a lot of the manipulation going on, and I see the impacts it had on not only my family but other families. So if you grew up in environments like that, you're going to have a lot of small-minded people around you, and you may have a lot of small-minded traits that you thought you ironed out, but it's nestled into different things. Your fear of change, your fear of failure, your fear of financial failure, but then the fact that you were raised in environments where everybody got to impress each other, you going broke because your brain has trained you that an outfit for a family gathering is a necessity. So you don't think that you splurging. You think that you're doing what you're supposed to do because of the fact that all of these habits came out. And once you zoom out from that religion, you see that, okay, first of all, religion is a beautiful thing. We just had somebody giving it to us the wrong way because they just wanted my mama to give $100 every Sunday, even though I couldn't even go on $5 field trips. This is not my story, y'all. $5 field trips because of the fact that my mama giving $100 every Sunday. Because in them churches that have bad actors, they don't even hide the scam. How could you be a church in an impoverished community and you're able to get thousands every Sunday from people, but you can't even put a few dollars to help somebody with a water bill? Or y'all actually have people that's homeless around the church? And like, anyways, let me stop, because that's just an example here, guys. And I'm sorry if anyone is into being scammed by bad actors. So, trigger warning for that. But then you see that the world is bigger than that. You see that there's actually tens of thousands of religions around the world. And the fact that a person is not a Christian does not make them a bad person or evil person. And then you realize that, hey, I can be friends with people from different things and we still have the same mindset. I could meet a Muslim that likes saving. I could meet a Buddhist that likes to jog every day. And we can all be cool with each other, because at the end of the day, me praying is for my salvation, not yours. So if you don't have salvation, that's not my business. As long as you're not trying to take my salvation. And so when you start zooming out, you start to see that a lot of these crippling mindsets that people have is different everywhere. And that's why motivation is so hard for you. And that's why if you're changing your life, Like for fitness, if you changing your life and you from the South with fitness, baby, you are God's strongest soldiers. Because them hog mogs, pig lips, pickle feet, turkey necks, raw noodles, families, baby, them people, they do not want you to lose weight. They're gonna make rumors about you to make you feel bad about it. They're gonna try to give you different boundaries about how far you can go, telling you that you lost too much weight. Like, so with motivation, if you can make it there with people, because I'm gonna tell y'all, if you don't have external roadblocks, you are blessed. Oh, whatever word you believe in, if you don't believe in blessings, you are awesome, amazing, whatever, if you do not have external roadblocks. Because with motivation in today's society, majority of the people is afraid to be alone. So everybody is immersing themselves with people they don't need to be around. You have people who swear they don't have friends, but when you look on their timeline, baby, it's giving Barney to me. But and not to mention with roadblocks, it's contagious. It's really you're contagious. Touch me, baby. Give me what you got. It's contagious. So a practical strategy: commit to 5 minutes. 5 minutes of writing, studying, or exercising removes the psychological weight of the task. Your brain no longer sees a mountain, just a small step. Closing message: motivation isn't magic. It grows from actions. If you wait for motivation, you may wait forever. But if you start moving, even in small ways, motivation begins to follow you. Instead of asking, do I feel motivated today? Ask, what is the smallest step I can take right now? And also, too, for fitness, baby, with fitness, again, you can do, if you have music, or if you, depending on what generation you born, find a playlist of some upbeat music from your time and dance with the people. If you do that for 15 minutes, whenever you think about it, that's already, because with cardio is just you increasing your heart rate. When it comes to cardio equipment, that's just an organized exercise intentionally meant to get your heart rate up, and then they have all of the different things to monitor your heart rate and stuff like that. But they have people that have lost weight from twerking. Like, baby, y'all got it. And when it comes to the money thing, the money right there, like, and then the thing about it is that majority of the people are never going to be financially literate. So you have two choices: either you could be their savior and make money from saving people, or you could make money from exploiting them like everybody else do. Because that's what happens. What y'all need to understand is that when y'all around people who have money greed and don't understand the difference between having money but also having an actual life, a priceless life, the people who have greed are the ones who always sell out everybody. That's why the whole sexuality thing, straight people, gay people, black people, all of this stuff, it's a farce, because majority of the people who be selling stuff to y'all, they use that to get in with you, and then they mess over you. Like, whew. So yeah, it's definitely something that you can, like, your motivation could be motivation to other people. It could be motivation to other people, but it should be, you should motivate yourself first to realize that motivation is not what you think it is. It's not like a drink that you can just an energy drink or something. And it also is helpful to just look at what you did the last 6 months, like everything, good and bad, and just ask yourself, if I repeated the last 6 months indefinitely, what would my life be like? And then from there, that could be inspiring too. You just never know. But I'll continue making videos, so hopefully maybe one day something hits home, you know. But nevertheless, that was it for motivation and rambling. I hope you have a good one, or not.
Like, comment, and subscribe to J New Orleans.